you and to know that everyone is healthy and doing well. For your review, we have application for the property improvement grant. This is application for the property at 240 East Flagler Street. The project involves complete demolition of the storefront and rebuild of the storefront and new signage. The applicant submitted complete application with all documents. The full application was attached to your agenda. Hope you had a chance to review. The application was reviewed by our independent subject matter expert, Carmen Diaz. She's a registered architect. She issued a letter recommending approval of the grant, and she concluded that the bid was consistent with the expectation of work involved, materials, and quantities. I also wanted to give you some background about this property, about this business. This is a bicycle and fitness shop called Sun Cycling. I think it's a wonderful addition to downtown community. Some of you know bicycle shops, they sort of like clubs. People keep coming back, they socialize, they bond over their passion of riding. So I think it's a wonderful addition to our business community and our community in general. And going back to the application, the amount paid by the applicant for the exterior improvements was $119,500. As you know, our guidelines provide that the grant amount can be issued up to 50% of the cost paid for the improvements.
Join the meeting.
In this case, the half of the cost is exceeding the maximum amount of the grant. So for this reason, we recommend to issue the grant in the amount of $50,000, which is the maximum amount of grant provided by the guidelines. And this concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Yes, I have a question. This is the only bike shop that we have in downtown Miami, because actually we don't have any bike shop, right?
Yes, it's a good question. I was doing some research yesterday. I was wondering the same, if it's the only bike shop. And to my knowledge, this is the only bike shop that we have.
Well, I think it's it's very needed in downtown Miami, given the amount of residents that they are going to use. I mean, we are trying to get everybody to use bicycles in downtown Miami. So I think, in my opinion, I don't know what the rest of you think. I think this is a great business to come to downtown Miami, and I'm wholeheartedly support this. This grant.
I'll move it.
I second it.
All in favor?
I'm sorry, you need to open it up to the public for comments prior to any action by the board.
That's right.
So I don't know if the public has any comments. Yvonne, have you received any? If there are no public comments, Mr. Chairman, you can proceed.
So we got a first and a second.
Okay. Well, everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, let me ask you to make it faster. Is anybody opposed?
Raise your hand. Okay.
Okay. Motion passes.
Thank you. That item's been approved.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Now, the second order of business, how do you want to, Christina, did Commissioner Higgins ask for any item that she wanted to be present?
No, she just wanted to see if she could jump in for the update on the COVID-19 response from the team, but okay. I just got a text that she won't be able to, so we'll just proceed with that really quick, and then we can jump into the rest of the agenda.
Okay, and it's fine with me if you want to go from the bottom up and you keep that order, or if you want to go to the order that we had before. I mean, we only have two items, and you pick the one that you want to.
No, I'll start with the update. I hope that all of you are receiving my weekly updates to the board. We've been trying to stay true to the action plan format because it captures all the previous work that was being done prior to the COVID-19 crisis. So I wanted to make sure that the board saw the progress on those items because we are trying to keep things moving forward. But they've also taken on new initiatives. And so the first week, when all of this kind of happened, we spent a lot of time getting everybody working remotely, making sure everybody had access at home. And then I have daily Zoom meetings just like this one with the senior management team, and try to do weekly meetings with the entire DDA staff. And so that's how we remain engaged and remain focused. The team really quickly assessed the situation in downtown as essential services were created and businesses were closed, and those that were essential remained open.
Join the meeting.
And I think we have Susanna Maducci also, board member Susanna Maducci that just joined in. Susanna, are you there? Okay, I think she's on, but for attendance purposes, we can go back and check it if I see her on the screen, but anyways. So the team very quickly assessed what businesses were open, what the needs were, and out of that came the Go Local, Go Direct campaign, which has been greatly successful. It helped the 80 or so businesses that remain, restaurants that remain open in the district out of the 350.
Jessica, Schwartz Media. Join the meeting.
Hi, Jessica. Mute your phone, please, if you don't mind. So the Go Local, Go Direct campaign was an evolving process. It was directly as a result of the restaurant's feedback of wanting assistance to remain open, wanting assistance to keep their employees employed. And so that campaign really kicked off, and it's been really doing great. And then we were able to partner with FIU South Beach Food and Wine Festival grant program that they started. They had raised $1 million, and we wanted to partner with them. So we allocated $25,000, which I had under my authority as the director to do. And out of that program, we had gotten almost 60 downtown restaurants, close to $150,000 in grant funding. So very proud of that work. And I believe the dean is going to be making a presentation on that shortly after my update. So you all be able to hear more on that front. The other thing that we did was created a small business task force. Julia headed up that team, and we got 12 to 13 volunteers, professional volunteers, accountants, attorneys to help navigate the federal and state programs that were out there to help any small business or individual that had questions on how to access applications or fill out applications. And over the last week, we've been able to help 40 businesses. And Julia is going to keep track now that the funds, I guess, have been depleted. She's following up with those 40 to find out how many of them did get approved and whether or not they've received funding over the next week or so. So we'll be reporting on that too, just to keep track of that. And then in addition to that, our debt team still remains out on the street. They're working a reduced shift, 24 hours, instead of the full 29 to 30 that they were working before. We're still manning and staffing the bathroom at Bayfront Park. The hours have been reduced from 8 to 10 p.m. just because of safety issues and the curfew that was put in place by the city. And so, making sure that our staff is safe has been our number one priority. All of the teams, including the ambassadors, have masks out on the street. We ordered masks for all of the staff. They should be coming in. Actually, I think today they arrived, just to make sure that when we do have to come back to downtown, that we're all safe in that way. And then in addition to that, we've started a recovery plan based on what, this crisis and what that means for downtown moving forward. I've been on calls with the team with Bill Talbert from the GMCVB, the Hotel Association, and the city administration about what that means for downtown, our hotel and tourism industry, once everything gets revamped and everybody's back in business. And so Ivory was working with the Wharton School of Business. I think some of you may remember back a few months ago on a report around marketing and what that means for the DDA moving forward to give us a 3-year outlook. Well, we pivoted on that, and they were able to provide us a pre and post COVID response plan, which I've shared with some of the board members for input. So I really appreciate you taking a read and letting us know your feedback. And if anyone wants to see that first draft, I'm happy to share it with you. But it's been a very busy 4 weeks for the team. All of our capital projects still remain. Neil's been working really hard to get the bike lanes that we've been working on with Commissioner Higgins' office implemented, and so that is in the works as well. Next week we may be having a walkthrough. Thanks to Commissioner Higgins' staff for pushing that through. And so, just making sure that we have all our protocols in place, that we're addressing human resources needs for some of our staff that may have issues with anxiousness during this time, making sure that they know that we have resources available to them as well through our benefits packages, and really trying to cover all bases We've been working with Barnaby's office and the city attorney's office on protocols to make sure that we're, addressing if there's a sick employee, that we're addressing it correctly based on this new, world that we're living in through this pandemic. And so everybody stepped up to the plate to help. And I really appreciate Barnaby and the city administration and their team for guiding us during this process and keeping us in the loop. I was supposed to actually be on a call with the administration today. They're having calls every Friday that they invited me to. So, just to let you know that they're keeping us engaged in the conversations. And they're also creating a recovery task force in the near future and have asked us to join their team on that. So I'll be participating on that as well. And now I think with that, it's kind of a high level overview. I don't know if anybody has specific questions that they want to raise. I'll open it up now to the rest of the board.
Yeah, I have a comment to make, and I want to congratulate you, Christina, and your staff for being, so active. And when we first spoke about getting ready for the stimulus package, and you immediately jumped with your staff, and by the time that the package came out, we were already. We were ready to start helping our businesses, and congratulations and for the speed and that you put that group together, and I'm real proud of it. Also, there's although that we are not we are in this difficult time, but the other projects that were on the line, like lightning and all of that, they haven't stopped, and I'm looking over the shoulder of everybody that has to do with them, and then try to push them so we can keep on helping downtown Miami the way that we should be here.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, and really kudos to the team. It's been a team effort. I mean, they've been working nonstop, and I'm really proud of them. And I failed to mention one of the coolest things we created. I'm sorry, just been our virtual downtown experiences that we've created have been a real big hit. We wanted to create experiences for people to stay home, stay safe, and promote our downtowners to remain inside, right? And so out of that came a lot of discussions with the team, and we've created these virtual experiences that are posted through our updates, through our newsletter that goes out every Thursday. So check that out and please share it, because there's experiences for all different demographics, from families to elderly to fitness and music. And so every Friday tonight, we'll have one at 6 to 7. And what we did is we've engaged former DJs that worked at downtown bars to do a 1-hour happy hour, taking over our Instagram live page. And it's been really fun. We've had over 500 viewers on that each time. And out of that, thanks to Philippe Houdard, thank you for your help and your connections. He was able to connect us with David Guetta's team, which is one of a world-renowned millions of followers, DJ David Guetta. He's gonna be taking over on Saturday, and it's going to be a great event. We're really excited about that. From 6 to 8, it's going to be at an undisclosed location for safety purposes. We won't be releasing that until the day of. And we have police covered to make sure that, we don't have people running over to the location where he's at. The city's helped us with that. So it's a very neat, it's been an evolving idea that's really turned into this huge event that's being showcased all around the world. And it's a great opportunity for downtown, for our residents, for our businesses to really be together, be as one during this hard time, but also to showcase the city and how beautiful it is and how we're still here, and we're going to be back ready for business as soon as this is all over. So thank you to board member Philippe Houdard for putting that together. And I think out of this, we'll probably get more big name DJs. We have one actually today, DJ Effect, a local DJ who has a huge following. He'll be spinning from 6 to 7 on Instagram Live. So if you have the time, check it out and share it with your friends and your family. It's been great. And we really have tried to create ideas and opportunities for the entire community, not just downtown, through these virtual platforms, because we do need, I think, to lift all ships right now and try to connect. And it's been really neat to see how the various, our counterpart communities like Wynwood and the Design District have seen us doing these experiences, and then they're now like doing them as well, tagging off of what we've been doing. So that's a form of flattery, right? So we're trying to figure out how to work with them and maybe do some battles of sorts and just keep things fun and light for people during this hard time. So it's interesting, and I'm very proud of the team. The marketing department has been working around the clock to keep our website updated with all the resources. As you know, things change on the hour by hour, day by day. So we haven't been used to having to update our website that quickly, and the team's really taken that on and has been able to do that. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. And if you have any comments about how things are placed, or if there's things that need to be added, please send them my way. Open to any feedback; it's helpful. This is a team effort, and we could really use everybody's assistance in that way. So,
I also want to point out that Christina, she made her debut in Hispanic radio, and we worked together on a Hispanic radio show where we informed all the audience about our assistant program. And I'm proud to tell you that, or to inform you that there have been businesses that outside downtown Miami that has benefit from this program that was implemented. And I think we were the only ones that were ready in the city of Miami, Miami-Dade County, ready to start, from day one, to start assisting businesses. And I know a couple of restaurants that they just immediately they jumped when they heard the type of assistance that we were offering. They jumped and they filled out their applications, and they had gotten some loans and all of that. And that it makes me proud of that our institution, that DDA, is helping people not only in downtown Miami but beyond downtown Miami, and particularly in the city of Miami. And I also, although you were very afraid, you did a great job in Spanish. You really did a good job.
I have to practice my professional Spanish. I can talk
right.
conversationally all day long, but professional Spanish is very different. So that was an experience.
But the most important thing is that the message got across.
Right, exactly.
The message got across, and people know that we are here to serve. We are helping everybody that needs help. We emphasize in this downtown Miami, but also we are able to help some other people that need help.
Right.
That was very good.
And just to clarify, what we did is, Julia's paid staff. So anybody that was in the DDA district, Julia helped. But if there were people from other areas, the volunteers, not paid volunteers, helped the others. And so, because I know we always have to stay true to the budget and the mission, and making sure that we're spending money in the district. But this was a little bit different, and we thought it was a good opportunity to help and kind of be out there for the community. And so thank you, Commissioner.
But the important thing is that we got a group of volunteers that were ready and they were trained to help those people that were not from downtown Miami, and they, very gracefully helped them, and they got benefits out of it.
Yeah, and then Beacon Council, GMCVB, a lot of these other government entities that we're partners with saw what we were doing, and then they also started their own program. So that was also great. And we knew that if it was going to get overwhelming, that they were going to be right there to partner with us. And so it's been a really great process to see how everybody's working together to help the greater good. So,
well, at this time we have to help each other. We are in this boat together, and I think there's just no time for politicking or for personal vendettas or anything. We just got to help everybody. Well, let's continue. You finished?
Yes, thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
I have a quick comment. We have 4 people calling in on the phone, and I have no way of identifying. So Ivory's going to mute each of those phone numbers to see if we can get a name. The first one ends in 0088, and that's 0088.
That's me, Suzanne Amaducci-Adams.
Hi, Suzanne. Okay.
Hi.
And then we have, hold on, I lost my list.
3507.
There we go.
That's Jessica from Schwartz.
Okay.
Jessica, and then
9250.
9250.
That's Victoria with Schwartz Media.
Okay, and 2833.
Okay. Girl rides motorcycles.
2833. Hello?
Okay, we can figure that out
Okay.
after this.
Okay, later.
That's fine. Okay.
Okay, well, let's continue then, and then let's go to a presentation about the partnership between FIU and South Beach and ourselves. And I think that the hospitality fund. And I think you touched that when you were doing your presentation, you touched on it, right?
Right. So this was a grant that we partnered on because it was specific to restaurants and it could yield a return on our investment. So we put in $25,000, and out of our 25, we were able to get close to, or $150,000 back in return to help 60 downtown restaurants. And so with that, I'll open it up to Dean Michael Chang from FIU's Chaplain School of Hospitality and Tourism Management to give an overview of the program in a quick 5 minutes. And I want to thank our board member, Danette Linares, who served on the selection committee and who took a lot of time working with Kevin Ruiz, thank you, Kevin, to vet the different downtown restaurant applications that were coming in and to recommend funding. So we really appreciate that and your participation on the selection committee, Danette.
Thank you, Christina, and thank you, Commissioner. First, I'd like to thank the Miami Downtown Development Authority for your support of our relief fund. So this fund started when we first heard about the mandatory 50% reduction of occupancy in restaurant dining rooms, and then that became 100% on March 17th. So then as these restaurants we were seeing, they started to grapple with the impacts of that decision. We saw a lot of panic and a lot of fear about the future and what will happen to the 1 million food service employees in the state of Florida. And nationally, there are over 15.6 million food service employees. So with FIU as an anchor institution in our community and the Chaplain School of Hospitality and Tourism Management representing the #1 industry in our state, we believed that we needed to offer support and relief quickly. So we looked at our partnerships and how we could quickly provide some relief to this industry that has always supported us and our students. And we made the decision to use a portion of the 2020 South Beach Wine and Food Festival proceeds and give it back to the community. So on Monday, March 23rd, which was less than a month ago, in a conversation with Lee, who was the founder and director of the festival, and with the president of Bacardi, Pete Carr, and with Pepe Badia from Badia Spices, David Grutman from Grut Hospitality, and we had a conversation with the chefs of several different restaurants like Timon Malus, Cindy Hudson, Michael Schwartz, Michelle Bernstein, Michael Beltran, and several others on what they needed and what impact looks like for them. The unanimous response that we got was employee support, getting funds quickly into the hands of the people who make their restaurants operate, and then getting them access to skills development and education while they were laid off or furlough, which is our Bacardi Teach and Startup FIU Food Program. So in the next couple of days, we had about $850,000 raised by March 24th. And then 2 days later, we launched the relief fund with $1 million. And all of our partners agreed that supporting this industry that have supported all of us and joining forces to have increased impact and reach was a smart thing to do. But this wasn't just a fund that we wanted to channel money in, channel money out. So we made sure that we included recovery efforts in there with the workshops that we are launching that will allow all of the establishments that are awarded and their employees the opportunity to further their education. So in the short term, we're focused on the relief, but in the long term, we're focused on the recovery and resilience of our industry. Our corporate partners and have helped us raise to date $1.4 million. That includes us as a founding sponsor for $500,000, and then Bacardi North America, Badia Spices, Gloria and Emilio Estefan, Grut Hospitality, Pitbull with Volley 305, Diageo, Pernod Ricard, Goya Foods, and Rachel Ray Foundation. So how we got together was when we were looking at partners. We saw that the Downtown Development Authority is a district that represents so many of our independently owned and operated restaurants. And Kevin and Shivani Joshi, my Director of Industry Relations, connected, and they discussed how powerful it could be if we combine efforts while still having the ability to customize the engagement in your district. So as Christina mentioned, so far, the impact to the DDA establishments is about $150,000. roughly 60 businesses and their employees, we receive approximately 84.5% of our grant applications are from Miami-Dade County. The remaining are from Palm Beach and Broward. And as a percentage of those grants, 15.8% of them come from the DDA grantees. The average grant amount is roughly $2,577. So we believe this partnership with DDA will become stronger still. And we look forward to working together, not just now, but also in the recovery phase. We're still receiving applications daily, between 20 to 30 each day. And as this shutdown continues, we see a greater need for this fund. I saw in the news today, 22 million Americans have filed for unemployment. And just last week alone, it was $5.2 million. And what we're doing is providing immediate financial relief to all the employees of independently owned and operated restaurants who have been laid off. So as I mentioned, 84% of them of the grant applications come from Miami-Dade. And we'd love to, we are inviting the board and the DDA to increase the funding with an additional grant of $25,000. And with that, we will at the very least be able to increase our impact to the restaurants and bars and employees to sustain these businesses. And we believe that by partnering together, we can leverage each other's reach and expand our impact. And again, we're looking at this from a long-term view. It's a long-term partnership that will expand from just the relief, not expand beyond the relief stage to the recovery and resilience of our industry. And we know that the DDA will be a partner as we uncover what the future of this restaurant industry looks like. With that, I'd love to take on any questions you have.
Mr. Shin, do you have any? You have a number of restaurants that benefit from the downtown area?
The total number to date is roughly 57.
57 that they are from within the boundaries of DDA, right?
Correct. Yeah. We have received almost 600 applications.
600 applications, and that amounts to what, $100 and some thousand? What they have received?
To the 57 businesses, about 100.
That's right. 100?
Yeah.
100 and what?
150,000.
Well, that's a hell of a return on a dollar. You see, we invested $25,000, and we are receiving. We'll be able to help with $150,000.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that you guys think, but I am very favorable of investing another $25,000 because there's a lot of other restaurants in the downtown area that could benefit. And I want to hear your comments on it. Gary, what do you think?
Is there further investment from other organizations?
I was gonna ask Dean Cheng, what's left in the fund, and are there additional monies that have been allocated that if we were to leverage another $25,000, how would we get a return on investment? I just want to make sure that there's still funds that the funds haven't been depleted, basically.
Well, that's a good question, and that's a great point. If you have additional funding, and then it takes only $25,000 for it to partner with you, but if you don't have any funding, that's a different story.
Right. So we're not completely depleted yet, but we're also not completely through all the applications. I'm hoping we have enough runway to keep going, but our fundraising efforts do continue on. We have set up our own webpage through FIU to continue to send it out on social media through our partnership. Shivani is on the line with me. Shivani, do you have an idea of how many, what our potential looks like?
Oh, Ivory, you're gonna have to unmute Shivani. There you go.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we still are actively soliciting, because the more funds that we have, like the more restaurants that we will be able to impact. So we did just get a renewal gift from DDA a week ago. It was 6 figures, but he continues to reinvest in the impact, and we are getting donations every day. This week, I think we raised over $600,000. in the space, but that includes our relief and recovery initiatives. And we have a plan, and we have meetings on the agenda to go ahead and build out how can we go ahead and work kind of deeply with the alumni who are located in the DDA and the businesses which are alumni owned by FIU in the district of the DDA. But then we also are looking at the people who buy tickets for SoBe and who engage in SoBe and who really have consumed all of the foods of like our F&B industry. So we're gonna keep it going. Yeah.
I'll mention that 10 or 11, I want to say, of our downtown restaurants participated in that festival, the South Beach Food and Wine Festival, and I believe all of them applied and through this grant. So it does have that tie to downtown in that way. Just wanted to mention that. Danette, since you've been working with Kevin on it, do you want to mention anything?
No, I just think it's a great program. We get our sheets every night or every other afternoon, and we go through it, and it's been a very thoughtful process. It's a very arduous process that FIU has really taken on, and Kevin has also done a great job for the DDA. So we go through the different restaurants that have applied, and also they've noted how many people the restaurants had to lay off, which is a big factor in this, because the money goes directly to the employees that have been laid off, which is, I think, a great program. It's really needed right now. I think it's great. It's great goodwill. If we have more to invest, I think it's really worth it.
And so just to that point about investing and our budget, I've been working closely with Yvonne Barrios, which has done an amazing job during this time to comb the budget, to make sure that we're prepared for what's to come. We'll be scheduling a finance committee to discuss that, Danette, in the near future, or maybe over the next coming weeks. The city of Miami took a 5% cut. The beach had to lay off 350 employees. We've been really lucky that we haven't had to do that here. I've already freezed salaries for our employees just to remain budget conscious. I'm having conversations with Chris Rose, the city's budget director, about what that means for us as far as future outlook, so that we can give a good update to the board and have a discussion about our priorities moving forward in the next coming months, because we are getting close to budget season and having to prepare that. So just wanted to put that out there. With that being said, we can and we do have the ability to allocate the additional $25,000 if it's the will of the board to do that. The way we've structured that contract is to make sure that the money remains in the district to downtown restaurants. And so those 25 would yield about 3 grants, give or take. And through the last 25, we got close to 60, 57. So 56 or 57. So, it's really your call whether to continue to participate. I heard almost $600,000 is still in the fund from Dean Cheng. So I open it up, and Barnaby, just wondering whether the executive committee, given that we have, I guess, 9 board members on the call, would it be okay for if they feel the will to allocate the funding to have that done now, or do we have to have a full board meeting?
It does need to be an action of the board. Whether you want to wait for the board is one option. The other option is you want to do it now and then have it ratified by the board after.
Right. Okay.
That's another option you can consider.
Yes, but I would like to hear from all the members, and I mean, like, Nitin, and what do you think? And Philippe, you've been too quiet. I mean, I don't like that. I don't know. Are you sure you're feeling well?
Yes, surviving. Thank you. So first of all, thank you to all the staff at the DDA for working super hard and under trying circumstances, and it's just a reflection of how important local government is during crisis like this.
Absolutely.
I guess so I like the program, of course. All small businesses, but especially restaurant type businesses are under such assault. It's really important. I guess the one question that I do have is the process in determining which restaurants get the allocation. I don't know if the intent is to just make sure that people are continuing to be employed and that the restaurants are able to function now, or if in addition to that, it's also really trying to keep an eye on the restaurants that are most likely to succeed and survive this time, so that they will be around on the other side. And if that's the case, I suspect that there's a certain criteria selection that means some of the difficult decisions of making sure that the money goes to those that are most likely to survive financially 3, 4, 5 months down the road, and those that are really barely surviving now and look like they may not make it, may unfortunately not receive the funding.
So, Philip, to answer your last question, virtually
I'm okay. How you doing today?
Oh, wait. Let me.
Discover the most amazing thing.
No.
I have to.
Trader Joe's has senior hours.
Oh, fantastic.
Frank?
And I'm old enough to qualify.
I don't believe you, but okay. That's awesome.
I was so excited. I actually got paper towels.
Yep.
So man. That's what really floats the boat.
I hear you. It's all the little things are big right now.
He's talking to me.
With what you ended up finally doing today and all of that.
Sure. So we yesterday we did part-time people furloughs, 54 people, and you know that included rep, which has obviously been out ever since we closed. Visitor services, retail, and probably the one really tough one, teaching artists. But they're all, part-time and subject to that.
And are those permanent furloughs or are those temporary furloughs?
No, the idea is that they're temporary and that as soon as we get back up and running, hopefully 9/1, that they will all be welcomed back.
Yep. Okay.
So that's the deal there. And then we had to do 15 layoffs. And that's.
Hello? We lost sound.
No, I think you just lost Franklin.
Oh, I lost Franklin then.
No, actually, we had to mute him. Franklin, we didn't realize that you were calling in and we heard your conversation, so we just muted you. Thank you for joining the call, but we'll continue with the discussion. Go ahead, Philippe, you were asking, and Dean Chen was answering your question. Go ahead.
So back to Philippe's question regarding who will survive and who would not. It's practically impossible to estimate that at this point because there's so many factors. Did they pivot? Did they extend their services? Did they go into this grocery store format? Are they advertising? Did they do a pop-up location? Are they doing their own delivery? Are they cutting costs? It's just too many variables to decide that. So we knew that going into this, and we made a very conscious decision that the people who need the help the most are the ones who are laid off. And that was like the number one criteria. Actually, number two. Number one criteria is they're independently owned and operated. And then we target the ones who have laid off people. And beyond that, it's just a simple mathematical formula that calculates how much each one of those get. Then it's arranged by timestamp. So in the order that it comes in. And hopefully, we've been lucky so far to keep going for almost 3 weeks. So we're hoping we can keep this going on and the runway gets extended.
Okay. Anybody else? Greg, you haven't said a word, man.
Well, I think it's the role of government in these really difficult moments to do everything possible to support the people who live in our community and businesses in our community. So I don't think we should hesitate a bit to do this.
I agree with you. How about you, Nitin? You haven't said anything either.
I think everything's been articulated very well, and I think something to focus on what Philippe said is we want to make sure that we're make it to businesses that will be around because unfortunately these will be band-aids for some, but for others it'll be the difference between survival and not, and those will be the ones that'll ramp up the most on the other side. So I know that's a hard task, but it sounds like this is a great resource at the ground level, so thank you.
Yes, I think that was a great point that you brought up, Philippe, and that it is very important. We don't want to be throwing money away, and we really want to help those that really could be around once this is over. You see, all people that will try to, game the system. You see, we want people that are there serious and they're going to be here when this is over. Do I hear a motion to
I'll motion it.
Prepare a resolution for the board, or we can just do it if you all feel comfortable, and then have a resolution come before the board for ratification, which means approval after the fact.
Okay, Barnaby, is that legit?
Yeah, you have either option. You can either wait, just as Christine said, direct that the staff put it on the next board meeting.
Okay.
Or if you want to take action now, we can put an item ratifying action of the board, the committee. At the board.
And I would prefer the latter, just because I know that Dean Cheng and FIU and they need to solidify the funding, and I also want to make sure that the staff is promoting it to our businesses right away if we're going to do it, so we can get in the applications and help them fill it out and all of that. So I prefer the ratification option, if you all are okay with that, because it helps us engage them right away instead of waiting till next Friday.
I
Probably
agree.
helps with fundraising efforts as well.
Sure. And also just speed is so important. A lot of businesses are day to day, and cash flow, just so vital to whether they can be around next week or the week after or make it through.
I take that as a motion from Philippe.
So
right?
move.
I mean, it's a dramatic increase in terms of.
Do I hear a second? I second.
Second.
Okay, any discussions?
You need to allow the public to comment. I don't know if there's any public
Any
comment.
comments? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passes. And I think that takes us to agenda review from the DDA Board of Directors meeting on the 24th.
Actually, we have to do we wanted to give a quick update on the state legislative update, and we have our lobbyist, Joseph Salzberg from Gray Robinson on the call. So Ivory, if you can open it up. Hi, Joseph. Nice beard. Wow.
Gino, are you growing a beard
We can't
too?
hear you. We can't hear you. You're unmuted, but it's something on your end. So in your board package that you've received an update this morning at 8. Our apologies. It's been just trying to put everything together remotely was a little bit challenging, but
this work?
Yeah, we hear you now. I'm just opening it up. So just give me 1 second.
That was on my end. Yeah, no, thanks. The beard, this is the quarantine beard.
Yeah, we sent a long update which encompasses all of Gray Robinson's work, and we did that on purpose just because I know a lot of you may have interest in some of the other items that they worked on. And then in addition, we sent an update as it relates to our initiatives. And so Joseph will walk us through all of that now.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chairman, board members. Sorry we're not with you in person, but hopefully soon enough. In the wake of what's going on, we have some good news to share. In the interest of time, if there's any specific information or questions anybody has with regard to specific legislation or budget items, feel free to reach out to me directly or through Elena. Going over, I'm just going to kind of do a quick run through of our legislative priorities. Again, the DDA had a very successful year. First, I want to give kudos. We had 3 visits by DDA staff during session, which was helpful. Elena came in December. Christina and Elena came during days, which was very helpful. And Chairman Reyes, as Chief of Staff, Steve Ferrero was there, both with his son, who was a page, but helped us kind of close out session in a very strong manner, especially as projects were getting cut. So thank you for your involvement. It helps us to be better advocates. Per the direction of the board, we worked incredibly closely and were in communication consistently with the City of Miami's internal lobbyist, Nick Pasquale, comparing notes in a coordinated effort. And I think that sort of direction proved to be very successful. With our priority funding, we went after $7.9 million in funding, which is a lot, and never expected to get that. But you have to cast a wide net. I'm very, very pleased to report that $400,000 for Judge Leifman's involuntary outpatient program, fully funded. $4 million for the Miami Center for Mental Health and Recovery, fully funded. $2 million for Miami Biscayne Baywalk, fully funded. So $7.9 million we pursued. As we sit here today, the Miami DDA's efforts resulted in $6.4 million being appropriated in the General Appropriations Act. Here's my caveat. We always have the veto period. The veto period, although we've been lobbying the governor's office and the relevant agencies since the start of session, the veto period every day gets more bleak. The governor alluded to this yesterday. At the end of session, the legislature appropriated about $200 to $300 million for coronavirus. That is a drop in the bucket from what is needed. The governor has been discussing either the need to come back for a special session to reappropriate funds and redistribute some of the federal funds that cannot be passed through agencies, or the alternative, which is more likely, is he takes a heavier veto pen in order to have money to carry forward, have in reserves, and plug the holes in the 2021 session. I think this is what's probably going to happen for two reasons. One is you don't want 160 members plus their staff congregating in a building right now. The Constitution does not provide for remote deliberation of the budget. And also, at some point, folks are going to need to start campaigning, even though that world looks very different. So that's my caveat. We expect some of these items to be, if I had to guess, and we're advocating at the appropriate time for him to not veto any of these. I would expect Baywalk to be the first one. All pet projects and transportation projects are likely going to get cut. Our message, and we've been discussing this with Elena and Christina, which is the mental health and recovery aspect. If it was important prior to the COVID-19 response, it's only going to be more important now. We're going to see upticks in domestic violence, mental health issues, substance abuse, especially here, which is ground zero. Apart from our priority funding, we had coordinated funding efforts. For the first time in 13 years, the Sadowski Trust Fund for Affordable Housing was fully appropriated at $370 million. That was a priority of the governor, and frankly, it was a priority of the Senate president. That is huge. It hasn't been done in 13 years. 30 million of that goes to Hurricane Michael recovery, but that actually will be meaningful. Again, affordable housing is one of the things that we're going to see on the tail end of this pandemic is only going to be exacerbated. Visit Florida was reauthorized until October 1st, 2023, and appropriated with another $50 million. Again, something that's going to be vital in the wake of the aftermath of this pandemic to really brand Florida as open for business is going to be through that agency. And on top of that, because I saw Terrell Fritz was on the call, cultural museum grant funding was appropriated at $16.5 million. It's never enough, but one of the good things is that wasn't really cut as much as we thought it would be at the end of session. I'll stop there real quick on the funding initiatives. I know that's the lion's share of what you retain me and my firm for. Very happy with our efforts. We're going to try our best to make sure the veto pen doesn't stretch to everything we do. But before I go into any sort of policy or specific questions, I want to stop since the funding is of the utmost importance.
Okay, any questions? Any comments? Well, I have a comment, and it is, you see, I really hope that the governor doesn't touch the mental assistance, mental health assistance. And all the news that I'm getting from my district and the city of Miami, there is a higher suicide rate. I mean, it has increased by, I think, triple. In my district, you see, and particularly it's been affecting the elders more than anybody else, and particularly those that they don't have families, and they consider, I mean, the loneliness has, or they are afraid of getting this virus and dying, you know, without breath. I think that we need to provide more help, or what we've been doing, I mean, from our office, where we are keeping in contact, constantly calling and seeing what they're doing. But we need more than that. You see, we need to have some professionals available in order to help. And another thing that I want to tell you, I mean, I want to ask you, Christina, just as we prepared for the assist everybody, I mean, that our businesses, I would love for you to start getting ready and analyze 2 or 3 scenarios of, I mean, taking into account different cuts or percentage that cuts that they could probably happen. And it is, I believe that what's going to happen is that the governor is going to do a lot of cuts. it's going to get his veto pen, and whatever he doesn't consider that it is important, and it is going to diminish the funds that have been allocated or eliminate them. And that is my suspicion. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but we have to be ready. We have to be ready and see what we got. How can we manage with if we have a reduction, substantial reduction in our funds.
Yeah, that's a great comment, Mr. Chairman. I'll tell you some of the things. Again, we're going to fight for all this to not be vetoed.
Yes.
We're in communication with the governor's office about every 36 hours right now with regard to just all these EOs. The first thing is going to go is the pet projects like Biscayne Bay Walk. Not to go into the strategy right now over this, but I'll tell you, Speaker Oliva and Lieutenant Governor Nunez are going to be our folks we're working hand in hand with when the budget goes to the governor to protect the Judge Lifeman mental health aspects.
Yes.
I think our efforts combined with obviously the LG and the speaker is as good as you can get. As I told Christine and Elena, if mental health is getting cut, that means the state's in a real big pickle. So
Absolutely.
At the appropriate time, Mr. Chairman, I may actually reach out to Stephen and have you call the LG or the speaker just so we can hear from you directly. He's been hearing from other laws.
Yeah, and in the past, thank you, Joseph and Mr. Chairman for saying and bringing that up. In the past, we've also sent letters from board members to Joseph. So if there is, whenever the right time is to do that, I really want to preserve, like you mentioned, the mental health funding and that funding for the facility, because that facility is meant to house 250 homeless individuals, and they are the most needy. So mental health issues and substance abuse issues, which is the bulk of our homeless on the street. And so we've been putting that as a priority for many years. And so to lose that funding would be detrimental. We really need to open that up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just you mentioned time. So just to give you guys a basis on where we are in a time frame, that's a lot of questions we're getting. Let me just cover that briefly. So session was earlier this year because of the elections. Usually you would see the veto period already underway in April. But the state's fiscal year, and it's at the bottom of the one pager I sent, the state's fiscal year is July 1. So if you remember last year, we concluded session in May. The governor didn't really act on the budget until June. So what the governor's office is telling the legislature is there's no rush, hold the budget. We're not there yet. So this is sort of a continue to check in, but we expect maybe in May or June, the budget to be sent, and then it'll be a full court press. We'll continue to keep staff involved, but the timeline is in flux given the pandemic, but we have the time to be in flux without really being in dire straits at this point in time.
Thank you, Joseph, and thank you for all your work.
One quick comment from Fritz. He says, thanks for the update. The cultural arts funding is vital and the allocation was welcome news. I wanted to share that.
I'm happy to provide some good news. We're honored to represent you. This is my second session as your hired advocate. And we'll continue to do everything we can. The only other thing I'll tell you is if there's anything specific that you guys need with regard to the executive orders and stuff coming out of the governor's office, please funnel that to Christina and Elena. We're communicating on homelessness issues, affordable housing issues, emergency management issues. Although we do the crux of our work in 4 months, we're here for you 12 months a year.
Thank you. Good job.
Philippe also wanted to say something.
Just real briefly, I just want to support the commissioner's statements on the need of doing whatever we can to make sure that we do preserve the mental health funding. Just kind of being so familiar with a lot of people living in, isolation. If you don't have family, the loneliness, just being distanced and detached from everybody, combined with the economic hardship that a lot of people are finding, and setting it in the context of what's already a very significant homeless issue that we have in downtown. I think, again, just echoing the commissioner's comments, I think that's one to really fight hard for to preserve.
Yes, sir.
And also congrats on getting all that funding. It's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's probably the most we've gotten allocated to date. So congratulations to you and your team, and hopefully we can make sure that we keep most of it. So Thank you.
Yeah. And all right, guys. Well, thank you so on. I'll stay on for a little bit with my video off, but we're here if you need to reach out for anything specific. And thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you, Joseph.
I'd like to give an opportunity to Tad to say a quick 5-minute update about the work that the PR team has been doing around crisis management and promoting a lot of the work that we're doing. So Tad, if Ivory, if you can let Tad in, that'd be great.
But he's on a timer, you said, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes, Tad.
Hey everyone. Can everybody hear me? I can see everyone and hear everyone. I've been on. Look, thank you all very much. It's great to see everyone. Commissioner, thank you for your words. And Christina, tremendous update. You know, look, I just want to kind of recap some of this. You know, the commissioner came in here, you know, a little more than 2 months ago with a 12-point plan to really put a lot of effort onto the street in revitalizing certain parts of downtown Miami and keeping the momentum. And everything really was flipped literally within a span of a week or so. This has been a punch to the stomach, you know, for businesses, for our community, for our country, for the world. And I say that because it is that dramatic. And I think what this staff has done under the leadership of the commissioner in really hitting the ground running, in implementing solutions that are supporting A, small businesses, you know, B, quality of life and keeping our residents informed and entertained has been tremendous. And I just wanted to touch on those 3 things that we have really been involved in, working hand in hand with Christina and the commissioner's office. You know, number 1, through social media and the press, we've been focused very much on keeping our residents informed. As Philippe just pointed out, people are in their homes, they're in their condos, they're scared, they're lonely, they want to get out. You know, we've been putting out information in lockstep with the commissioner's office, with the CDC, with the city of Miami, regarding health and safety tips and the importance of staying inside and what you can do when you're outside and how to conduct yourselves. B, you know, without even going into the press, the focus has not been on press. The focus has been on keeping businesses alive. We can't help everyone, but we've been focused on the businesses and the sectors that we can help. Restaurants, you know, we saw what the GMCVB did. You know, to their credit, they put a list out. We wanted to do more. We wanted to help the restaurants not only stay afloat, but send the message and change consumer mindset that if you really want to help restaurants, go direct. Go, stay local and go direct. Call your restaurants. You'll save them 30 to 35% on the back end that they're giving away to Uber Eats. That's how you're going to help them. It's not going to save everyone. But if we could change consumer mindset, and I think we're doing that because now you're seeing lawsuits come out against some of these platforms. You're seeing all the media mention, whether it's with the DDA or Coconut Grove or the city of Miami Beach, they're mentioning that these apps are charging too much money and residents are better off supporting their restaurants by going direct. That's what we sought out to achieve, and we were able to do that with the commissioner's support. The press has been tremendous, you know, from the cover of the Miami Herald and El Nuevo Herald, you know, Eater, all the restaurant trades have really been covering this, and it's been all over social media. So we've really built a lot of momentum and put the DDA out front. On the quality of life, I can't stress enough, you know, we have really focused, you know, not only on providing entertainment. Look, you know I got 2 kids, a dog, and 2 cats. It's a circus in my house. I'm going crazy. I'm starting to look like Jose Gallanes. But you got to have stuff to do.
That's why I'm at the office today.
As the commissioner, you know. But this DJ, these happy hours have been so well received. Philippe saw it. He brought us David Guetta, which has been all over the world. We were in Rolling Stone. We were in Forbes. We're on AP. All with the DDA out front and being in lockstep with this tremendous event. I don't go to Ultra, but this guy, as Christina said, this guy has 8 or 9 million followers on Instagram, and he's pushing our material on his pages. It's really tremendous, not just to show what the DDA is doing, but to show how this is really keeping our residents, you know, somewhat entertained. There's a lot of other initiatives, you know, outside of the Go Local, outside of the, you know, the DJs. We got a book club where we're looking to partner with Books and Books and do book readings once a week. A lot of other things, but I just wanted to touch on that. It's really been it's been refreshing to see how well staff has really come together. They're motivated. They're working hand in hand with the commissioner's office. Steve has been great in sending us information, and I look forward. I'm glad the commissioner said what he said. We have to keep, the initiatives underway that, that he said he was going to implement, and we are lighting the streets, lighting the CBD, supporting the homeless. That's another thing I forgot to mention, the Pit Stop program. The commissioner came in, saw that we needed not only to get these toilets on the street, but make them sanitary. And he's pushing that through. And that's something we're promoting at the same time. So all of these things combined show that the DDA is coming together to really do the best that it can. And, I just wanted to support everything Christina said because she's really hit the ground running. So thank you for everything.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Tad.
Tad. Thank you very much.
It's long, but it details everything I just said and all the press coverage.
Thank you, Tad. Thank you very much. Hello?
Okay, so we can move on to the agenda. Basically, for the board meeting on Friday, it's at 9 a.m. It's set by our bylaws. And so we had to move this meeting for a conflict in scheduling. I just wanted to put out there, if we want to move that meeting, we need to have an action of the board, right, Barnaby? It has to be at 9.
Correct.
Okay.
It should be at 9.
Okay, so that's set. And so the agenda for that meeting.
Well, excuse me, Christina, does anybody has any, I know that this is our different times, you see, and everybody is on a different schedule. Does everybody agrees that it should be at 9? If not, we will, make a resolution or whatever, but if everybody is on the same page, let's do it at 9 and we don't have to do anything else.
The committee meetings are subject to the chairman and how you want to do them. So any of the committees are your discretion. The board meeting set by our bylaw. So
absolutely.
If there's a move of time, we do need to discuss that.
Okay. I don't see any difference of opinion here. I think that everybody agrees with to do it at 9 o'clock.
Ivory's unmuting in case anybody needs to speak. So.
And just to clarify, Christina, the bylaws actually state 8:30, but there was a resolution passed by the board, 6 months ago, a year ago.
That's right.
At 9.
Right.
Okay, well, then it's going to be at 9. And that's it. That's what everybody wants, and that's what we're going to do. Listen, one thing that I want to ask you all is please be safe. Be safe. This time, I know that we are going to beat this virus, this pandemic, and I really hope that we become better human beings, and this will be a lesson that we will set our priorities straight. And I really hope that everybody be safe and take good care of your family and your loved ones. And until we can meet and shake hands and go back to the abrazo and all of that, take good care of yourself, okay?
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. This meeting is adjourned.
Bye.
Thank you.
Great weekend.
Good to see you all.
Everybody.
Nice seeing you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.